Carl and Brendan here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhbl.com for sure. And it's reaction time as we're going to be checking out Where the Light Grows Cold by Diamorte. And I'm going to do a little bit of explanation. I'm basically going to read it from the Facebook page about Diamorte because it is one of those head-scratching, like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Basically, a theatrical metal production with operatic and live visual elements presenting the stories of the albums as a live experience, a musical theatre for the modern age, linking the grandeur of the past with the savage orchestral and metal music of the present, imbuing new life into a genre often viewed as antiquated, with extensive stage presentations that seamlessly meld with a one-of-a-kind musical. Diamorte strives to make each and every show a must-see for many walks of life, from classic musical theatre goers to heavy metal enthusiasts alike. Diamorte makes their productions accessible, fulfilling visual and musical desires in one complete experience. It features the production Diamorte, the Budapest Scoring Live Orchestra and choir performance, as well as members Where the Light Grows Cold specifically, Decapitated Symphony X, Devilment, Ghosts of Atlantis, yeah, there's our link, Black Crown Initiate, and more. So there's some big fucking bands involved in this production. This has been around, this track Where the Light Grows Cold has been around for a couple of weeks, ever since Diamorte, I think it was New Year's, they kind of announced this thing. But I personally have left it again to the side on the knowledge that when we met up, when we were going to do these videos, because basically the last couple of weeks have been shit for us hooking up, that was like, okay, we'll do it then. Have you listened to this or checked this out yet?
No, but exactly for the same reason. I've been desperate to, mainly because it's really fucking interesting. Even though if I'm hoping once I watch this, I'm going to get it more. There's a lot of information around this to try and take in and try and assimilate, and it's quite hard to visualize without having not seen any of their songs yet. But obviously also the names of the bands involved in this song in particular, the links to Ghosts of Atlantis, who we're obviously all very big fans of. It's been really difficult not to like listen to it, but I knew this was coming. You know, I've seen the messages and stuff, so I was like, look, hold off, man. I wanted it to be a first time like reaction. So
yeah, that's how we want to do it sometimes. So we don't, you know, if you're thinking, why haven't we checked out this track yet? Always remember, we are going to get to it eventually. We just need to find the time to actually record these fucking videos. So let's do this. Where the Light Grows Cold. 3, 2, 1, go. Right, there ain't going to be much talking during this, folks. I'll tell you now. What are we watching?
Love it. Fucking brilliant. Love that.
Has passed in the frigid north as this tragic tale unfolds. Another song of blood and greed as war sounded. Where the light grows cold, where the Where the light was cold and the storm closed over the hearts
The way to drop that in, but there it is. Guitar solo.
Oh, don't end. Oh, it ended.
No, it actually did. I feel like I need like 10 or 15 minutes to take my headphones off and go sit in a corner just to think about it. Like just to think about it and like analyze and let it sort of sink into my brain. You know, literally first time we've heard that, it's just ended. And now you expect me to try and talk about it and explain what I loved about it. And it's like, okay, because in the laziest way possible, right? The laziest way. And if I was trying to write a review in words, that was one of our single slams where the aim is to say no more than 2 to 4 lines, I'd only be going epic symphonic metal that makes you feel tall, grand, and stamp your feet. Something along those lines is what I would come up with. Maybe some variation on that, bombastic and things like that. That's about much. But like, obviously it's a video. I want to say a lot fucking more. But those are the words that jump to mind. Let's not kid around. This is fucking grandeur. This is grand beyond belief. Not just how it sounds, but also how it looks. All I'm thinking throughout it, when I'm not listening and paying attention to music, was I'm really fascinated now to see how this fits in this narrative. What is this? How does this work as the story? What part of it is? Is the full album going to be that from beginning to end, a story like the story? And then also, you talk about production. Is the plan to bring this to a stage, be a stage show, as it were, a musical stage show with, and it's like, oh, I don't think I've ever seen anything in my life that would do with that level of heaviness. And that's the thing. That's what I keep coming back to. I expected it to be symphonic, expected orchestra. Obviously, the Budapest Scoring Orchestra is very prominent in it. But that is brutal at times. Some of those vocals, some of those riffs, those drums are fucking crashing and banging so heavy. All I'm thinking is, I have never experienced anything that would fit so comfortably in our world of heavy metal and then put on a stage. That's fascinating in itself. As a standalone track, hearing it as it is there, it blew me away because I love this style of music. What I love about the style of music is when it doesn't get boring. When you see 6.5 minutes and you think symphonic, orchestra, heavy metal, all you're kind of thinking is, okay, well, we've kind of done is there's going to be a slow bit and we're probably going to have clean vocals and there's singing and there's soaring. There's going to be a bit where you can hear violins and all that. This didn't do that. This felt like it broke a lot of the norms where it kept changing and shifting while then reverting back to certain styles that you'd already heard before. But there's so many different vocals going on as well, styles that I couldn't keep up at times. I'm like, okay. Like, you know, the female vocals are quite prominent early on, disappear for the majority of the track, pop up at the end in a different style. I'm like, what the fuck? And you've got those absolute beauty of a guttural vocals, but you've got this really lovely, clean, powerful, almost spoken word style going on. It's immensely impressive because I just can't quite picture how you put something like this together in one track, let alone a whole fucking album / production.
I liked it too.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Yeah, I mean, I also at times like, I mean, throughout it, I will anyway because it's great, but I kept thinking like I need to re-listen, re-watch. I think multiple times to maybe fully appreciate everything that's happening because it's quite a sensory overload, but like in a good way. There is so much going on, like you said, many voices, many layers. And then there's the video with it as well. I can imagine the song on its own with no video, just listening to it taking me a fair few listens to really think I've picked up maybe not everything, but as much as I can, you know, across that. The visual sort of overload as well, because the visuals in the video are great. But it doesn't yet to me, like it doesn't quite yet all like sync yet. Do you know what I mean? I'm not quite in sync like with what's going on. It looks fucking awesome. It looks epic. I want to know more. I want to hear more. I want to see more. But off the back of that, it's an amazing song with a ton of amazing artists and instrument players and symphonies and just everything. Like, it's so hard to pick apart. There are moments in the song that like stuck to me more. The female vocals are brilliant. The multiple layers of vocals is always fucking phenomenal. The solo, the solo.
Yeah,
the solo.
great. It was great.
The guttural vocals when it was like being delivered at like 4 billion miles an hour, and I was just like, that's impressive, man. But even just like the first 10-15 seconds of it, where you started getting that little drum kind of building up, and like, I love that builds suspense and it builds interest. And like, I'm 10 seconds in and I'm like, yeah, I'm in. You know, you can sometimes, I can tell, I'm sure you can as well, a lot of people probably can, you can tell quite early on in a song whether it's going to be for me or not. You know, I don't need to always listen to I will, but I don't need to listen to a whole song. I can sometimes be turned off of it by 15 seconds at the beginning of it. And then I have songs like that where I hear 15 seconds and it's like, there ain't no way in the world I could like be careening towards a cliff in a car, and my choice is to jump out or listen to the rest of the song, and I'm have to stay in. I must take my chances, man, because I ain't missing what's coming next.
What a brilliant summation. I love that.
you know, like it is a lot. I mean, I have no criticisms of it because I absolutely adored it. If the one thing I would say where it made sense in the video, I think if I'd just been listening to that on my music player, it works in the video because there's visuals, but there's like, when it transitions between sections in the song, it kind of pauses for like a half second, doesn't it? So it goes, stops, and then it comes back in with the when the light grows cold. And it's very, very impactful, and I like it a lot. But it's more impactful when you're watching, because I think if I was listening to it, it would almost maybe feel like stopping for sections of it. Like, it's only brief, and it only happens like, I think it was 3 times across the whole song, and it certainly doesn't like fucking ruin the song for me or anything like that at all. It's just something that I noticed in it. It was like, you know, it doesn't, probably purposely, it doesn't transition seamlessly from second 1 to the very, very last second. It takes like a pause and then switches direction on you. Like I said, it's probably done purposely, but I did notice it. And like I said, yeah, it's a difference because it's hard. It's hard because we've not experienced this sort of stuff before.
No,
musically we have, but this whole idea of the visuals and everything and it all being part of the big picture. Normally a song is a song, and the videos we watch 99% of the time are just the band standing in a dark room, you know, with close-ups of them playing the instruments.
Yeah,
it feels like actually listening to the song on its own, while it would still be immense and awesome, doesn't do it justice. Like, it has to be all. Yeah, it's just it's impressive, man. The ambition is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And I feel inspired by it. I feel like pumped up, man. Like, do you know what I mean? I feel like energized. I'm like, this is it. And the great thing about it, I suppose more than anything else, is the fact, even with all that sensory overload, man, that can turn you off a thing, but this has had the opposite effect on me. Is like, where I want to explore now. I want to get involved. I want to know more about the Shadelands. I want to know more about these characters that they're playing, and I'm in, man. You know what I mean? I'm like 10 minutes into the movie and I'm well on board.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing we take away from this. This was supposed to be our first proper experience of it for both of us, as we said at the start. And the idea was to listen to it and go, okay, hopefully this will encourage us, excite us enough to want to know more. I think we're both exactly in the same place there. I also think through multiple listens, like if you were to come back to us in a week or two after listening to this track, or maybe in a month when maybe another track's been released, and then we were to discuss it, then we might not necessarily have totally different opinions, but we'd certainly have a lot more detailed about hopefully what we learn and understand over that time. Yeah. Just the idea is first impressions, reactions, that's what we're giving you. I think we're both very pleasantly pleased.
Yeah, absolutely fucking blown away. Loved it. Can't wait for more.
What do you think? You know what to do? Drop it in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?